Okay, real quick update. So in the last video, I talked about how I was noticing that this plate was sliding further and further down, and I was getting a lot more movement out of it. And what's causing that is I've got about 4,000 rounds on this one, and as the striker assembly, I guess, I don't know, ages or gets used, this back section here, the channel is squeezing in, and as it squeezes in, it allows the plate to move down. And so if the plate moves down too far under recoil, it'll catch right here on the back of this rail assembly. So I cut a bevel into the back, you can see it, so that if it does drop down far enough to catch, the bevel just kind of lets it ride up and do that. So I'll monitor that, see if that really fixes it or what. Someone asked me if I tried the aluminum cover plate from CZ Customs, and I hadn't, so I went ahead and got one just to see. The fit is identical to the plastic one. Dimensionally, they're about identical. As far as the cuts here, they're identical as well. The difference is because it's aluminum sliding around on steel, it's a little bit smoother, so you can really move them more easily. You can hear it too. But the advantage of that, I guess, is that if it drops down, it's slippery enough that there's not much resistance to allow it to spring back up, so it doesn't really catch as badly. Even if it catches a little bit, it still just kind of pops out of the way. So that seems to be an option too. It's like 20 bucks if that's something you prefer. I didn't get mine engraved because I'm not really a fan of doing that. While I was at CZ Custom, picked up a magazine extension. So this is for the P-09, which uses the same magazine body shape as the P-07 and P-10C. It's supposed to add 4 rounds to the magazine. On the P-10C, I can get that fourth round in, so I can get 19 rounds in the magazine, but the very top round is nearly impossible to get in. And I mean, you can barely get it into the feed lips, and there's no downward movement. So if you try to put it in or insert it on a closed slide, it's really hard to get seated. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, this is an 18-round magazine, not a 19-round magazine, so +3 extension. One nice thing is that the P-07, P-09, and P-10C all use the same 13-coil magazine spring, regardless of magazine length. So the 19-round magazines and 15-round magazines use the same coil spring. So there's no danger of this spring being weakened too far by adding the extension. So compared to the factory extension, the heel of the magazine is about the same. There's almost no difference there. Obviously the toe sticks down a little bit more, and it doesn't stick out as far. You can see it kind of, that part sticks out a little bit more. What I do like is with the factory magazines, that the angle I have on the magazine, it's not a straight in push into the mag well. It's kind of this weird angle, so you kind of push up like this, and I don't know, that bugs me. The nice thing about these is it's perpendicular. So loading mags is a little bit easier, but you also get a straight push in, which I like. The other thing is there's a big gap here caused by this angle. So when I go and index my magazines, I tend to come in like this out of the carrier, and so I've got a big gap here, and it just feels kind of insecure, like it can wiggle around because it's just kind of pivoting on my palm like that. I don't know, it just bugs me, especially when I'm trying to do it at speed. I notice with these that when I come in, I get a little bit more contact, and it just feels more secure. Probably because the sides don't stick out as far, and everything's just hugging the body better. So the other nice thing is these are for the mag weld versions, so they're not designed to be flush. So there's obviously a gap there, but that allows you to get your hands in either from the sides and strip the magazine out, or you can come in from the front and back if that's the way you want to do it. They retain the same way as the factory ones do, which are the same as the Mechgar Optimum +2 extensions. So there's just a little plate that you either press in with the punch, in this case, or on these you can actually pull it down yourself and go like that and pull it out. So I really like that setup. There's no set screws to worry about, and it's super easy to get to. Of course, the downside is these are $38, and these are like, I think, 12 bucks. And I've got 5 more magazines I got to stick these on. So, you know, you do the math and figure out if it works for you. I personally, I like the extra rounds, so 18 + 1 rounds for me is pretty good. And just the fact that I can index them more consistently so my reloads are a little bit smoother, for me it's worth it. But These are just fine if you like, if you want these for +2s, but obviously I like these. So anyway, that's what I got for now. Anything else changes, as usual, I'll let you guys know. See you.